If you grew up playing Pokemon FireRed or Leaf Green, there's a very specific feeling you remember. Turning on your Game Boy Advance, hearing that intro music. Walking into Pallet Town for the very first time and picking your starter. For a lot of people, that was their childhood. And now, almost 22 years later, Nintendo brought back FireRed and Leaf Green on the Nintendo Switch and actually made a bunch of small but important changes that completely change how the game feels. Some of them are great, some of them could have been better and make you wonder why Nintendo didn't go further. And today, we're breaking down 5 changes in Pokemon FireRed on Switch, then talking about what they should have changed instead. So first things first, the roar glitch for Entei, Raikou, and Suicune is finally fixed. This is one of the biggest gameplay changes, because in the original game, there was a brutal glitch involving the legendary dogs. Entei, Raikou, and Suicune would flip your world upside down if one of them used the move Roar. Because in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, they'd use Roar and the battle would end, then you'd have to go find them again. But in FireRed on Game Boy Advance, one Roar from them would cause them to disappear from the game forever. No second chance, no way to catch them again. They were just gone like Brock's chances of picking up Nurse Joy after simping. And if you're not a simp, you'll like and subscribe. But now that bug's finally been fixed. If the dogs roar themselves away, they still exist, can be tracked down again, and eventually caught, which is honestly something that should have been fixed 20 years ago and would have relieved all the aneurysms we suffered as kids playing Game Boy Advances. But the second major change is one of the biggest W's Pokemon has ever done for us. They gave us new legendaries to catch: Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh. See, back in the day, getting these Pokemon was basically impossible unless you went to real-life events. To catch Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh, you needed special tickets, and if you didn't go to the event, too bad. Now in the Switch version, the Aurora ticket and Mystic ticket are just given to you in the post-game. No events, no mystery gifts, no traveling. You just have to beat the game, which is honestly a massive quality of life improvement, and it gives every player a chance to see what they missed out on years ago. But remember this point for later. Our next change is a huge modern addition to the game. Pokemon FireRed on Switch now connects to Pokémon HOME, which means Pokemon you catch in FireRed can be transferred into newer games. But this is a one-way street, so you can't transfer Pokemon into FireRed, you can only transfer them out. This is something that never existed in the original version, and it completely changes the long-term value of playing the game, because now your Pokemon aren't stuck in 2004 anymore. They can actually move forward into your next game. Now here's a change that's kind of controversial, but also kind of funny. In the original game, you could name your character, your rival, or your Pokemon pretty much anything. Now there's a profanity filter. Certain words get automatically replaced with default names. So if you try to name your rival something insane or a slur, the game will just cancel that and go, yeah, that's not happening. It's a small change, but it definitely removes a bit of that old school chaos. Another big change they made is trading. Because back in the day, if you wanted to trade Pokemon, you needed a link cable, a friend, and a lot of patience. But now, trading's just built into the system. Pokemon FireRed on Switch now supports wireless connectivity out of the box, so you can trade locally without any extra hardware. This is an obvious one, but it's one of those changes that just makes the game way more playable in 2026. And obviously the game's made a bunch of smaller improvements too. Like, you'll notice the game has been visually cleaned up with graphics that are way sharper and optimized for the screens today, and the game still uses that Game Boy Advance art style, but now it just looks better on a bigger version of our TVs. Nintendo even said the goal was to keep the charm exactly how you remember it in the original Pokemon FireRed. They just wanted to update it for Nintendo Switch. So for them, it was less about changing the look and more about preserving it properly. But here's where things get interesting, because for everything they added, there's a lot they didn't add. And this is where the conversation really starts. Because if they made some crazy changes, this game would have been insane. Imagine this, you beat the Elite Four, and then you get to go to Johto. If this happened, the Pokemon world would have exploded. And this was a huge opportunity missed. Just for a second, pretend you get on a boat after beating the Elite Four, you go to Johto, you get to fight in all the new gyms, catch all the new Pokemon, and get another full set of badges. They did it before with Pokemon Gold and Silver. I mean, they literally let us go back to Kanto, so why not do the reverse, especially for the 30th anniversary? That would have been a perfect addition. And while they did add legendaries, They could have added new Pokemon. Another big miss. The game's still locked to mostly the original 151 Pokemon, but imagine if they added new evolutions, new regional forms, modern Pokemon, or had updated events that you could attend to get access to other legendaries like they did the first time. Like imagine if you could go get Rayquaza. Even just sprinkling in newer Pokemon would have made the world feel fresh again and still kept that nostalgic factor in play. But instead, they basically just froze it in time and kept it the way it was. Now yes, the Sevi Islands exist, but let's be real, Pokemon could have expanded the post-game and gone way further. Imagine Pokemon FireRed with more legendary quests, side missions, or secret areas. The foundation was already there, they just didn't build on it. And lastly, this one feels obvious. Trading's already there, but what about online battles, a ranking system? I don't know. I know I'm basically outlining the perfect Pokemon game, but I just feel like they could have done so much more, especially with how big of a year the 30th anniversary is. They could have turned FireRed into a living online experience instead of just a nostalgia trip, but I want to know what you think. What should they have added to Pokemon FireRed on Switch that they didn't? Should they have expanded it or kept it exactly how it was? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe as it really helps me. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.